Okay, folks, Beyond the Gates, episode 150. Let's cut the chit chat. We know what this is about. Everybody's talking about the scene that revealed more about Hayley. And 10 out of 10 episode. It has some romance, it has some scandal, but it has some massive revelations. Also, just side note, thanks for rocking with me. 150 episodes. 150. I guess when I do episode 151, I got to make a Pokemon reference. But seriously, to make it this far, it's been amazing. It really has. So we got, 50 more episodes to go, or 49. So make sure you take a moment to like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Become a channel member if you would like. And let's dive in. So, Vernon and Anita, man, is it just me or does it feel like it's been a while since we've seen them together? I don't know why. It just feels like it has. But she's on the phone with her impersonator from Vegas, and he tells her talking to herself is a sign of insanity. And also, happy belated birthday to the legendary Vernon Dupree. Okay, I'm just playing. Clifton Davis. So it turns out that they're oh man, it's an invite to Thanksgiving, which I just find incredibly hilarious. I will bring this up every time it is relevant. Back when Anita first found out about the wedding via social media, and Anita seemed more offended and ticked off at the impersonator as opposed to, oh, they had a shotgun wedding. So that's when Anita fills in her husband on Martin actually moving back home. And Vernon is happy because, he's had faith that it would happen. So from there, they're looking forward to having the house to themselves again and some quiet. That's why it feels like they haven't been together in so long, because typically their home has other people in it, with their own drama and whatnot. So that's what made this episode feel so wholesome when it came to Anita and Vernon, and that, we finally get to see these two back at it in terms of being, lovey-dovey as opposed to the peacekeepers, trying to solve everyone else's problems. And speaking of problems, just as these two were getting cozy, enjoying the peace and quiet, that's when the construction next door begins and they curse Leslie. So that's when Vernon decides, let's go to the diner. And he actually booked the place so they can have it to themselves. June actually comes up and tells him how much she admires them and she can't imagine better great-grandparents to her babies. Which, honestly, I feel like this is a great way to implement June into the story. By having her work at the diner, she can constantly interact with the individuals who are, in her children's lives. So I think that's pretty cool. Now, once she goes back to the kitchen, they swap plates and dig in. Just kind of a little nod to the, June is still learning. So they get to dessert, the pie, which, man, I have not had a slice of pie in who knows how long. And he asks if Anita's serious about inviting her impersonator to the holiday, and jokes that it's hard enough to handle one of her as opposed to two. So they get up and they just dance, and it was work, no words needed. This is just one of those, man, you just hope to have a love like theirs someday. And by that I mean writers, what y'all got for us? I know y'all can't have Anita and Vernon being all lovey-dovey and happy without some sort of scandal or drama happening at some point. So, over at Martin and Smitty's, they tell the kids they're getting back together and Martin is coming back home. The kids are fine with it as long as their pop stays for good this time. That's when Terrell runs off to his room and Samantha tells him that it took long enough to listen to her because, as kids, it's like, it's about time you two did what we said. So, after she goes to her room, Smitty and Martin talk about how great the kids are. And Smitty wants them to be a united front, protecting them from, wait, is it Joey? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, because, in my notes I have Joey, but I had a brain fart. Like, wait a minute, what about Joey? Oh, yeah, the whole thing where Joey... Didn't Kat go to Joey for information on Allison after Chelsea was kidnapped? And when she offered money, he's like, nah, I got enough of that. He's like, well, your brother is a politician. Perhaps he can do me a favor. And when Kat relayed this information to Martin, he agreed. But, and look, it's been a few weeks. Did Joey actually give them helpful information? I cannot remember. I just know that it was the cabin in Virginia, but I can't recall how that came. Didn't it come from like a deep dive in like her fan fiction or social media? I can't remember. It's been too long. So, Martin thinks that Joey just likes to have leverage as opposed to using it. Martin, come on now. You gotta be smarter than this. So Smitty is glad to just have him home. So that's when the kids and, their pops have dinner and they talk about school. And Samantha talks about how Chelsea is getting back to her regular self. I mentioned that in my Monday review. I'm like, it felt good to see her getting back to, well, I don't want to just say normal, but getting back into her normal, her typical routine. And then she adds that she hung out with her mom and Terrell is concerned, and Smitty admits he was afraid of losing them after their mother, came back into their lives. And the kids say that can never happen. So after they have dinner, Smitty tells Martin that he's trying to be okay with Samantha seeing June. And once they tell each other how glad they are to be together again, that's when they go to the bedroom. And didn't Smitty smack his man on the behind? Man. All right. So we go over to the casino, kind of picking up from Monday's episode when Vanessa is pissed off that Joey is trying to end things with her right now. And Vanessa's like, I thought everything was going well. So what? Is the thrill gone that he's not screwing another man's wife? And Joey's like, this isn't about Doug. It's about your son. Donnell came and we spoke to each other and your son is determined to look out for you. And she's just taken aback that he would, I don't know, back off for a kid. Basically, so one of my family members, my son specifically, has one talk with you, and all of a sudden you decide to just roll over, and because what? He's like, well, I think your son should just look after you. And I need the both of you. Come on. Be real. Your son just lost his father. How would he feel to see you move on so quickly? Because obviously Vanessa still has not told her son everything. And that's when Vanessa is like, wait a minute. You offer my son a job as a dealer? And yeah, he turned it down. Well, good. I don't want, her son blaming the casino any more than Joey. And that's when she doesn't want him to push her away. She wants him. So then they make out. And then that's when Randy pops in. And he's like, and then Vanessa's like, yeah, sorry. Oh, wait. And that's when it's like, oh, yeah, we just came to an understanding. So that's when Randy, is like, look, Doug's death, taught me about bygones being bygones. So he gives Vanessa his condolences. And I wanted to be at the memorial, but I didn't think Joey would take too kindly to that kind of thing. And that's when he's like, no, I wouldn't have had no problem with it. I mean, that was your friend. So Randy asked how the kids are doing, and she asked him not to mention anything to them about her relationship with Joey, and he agrees to keep it under wraps. So Joey offers to drive Vanessa home and tells Randy to close up shop. So that goes back to the video I did over the weekend about how I really wish we could have seen Doug's memorial. I really wish we could have seen it because it just would have added not just more depth to Doug's character, but the character combinations and interactions would have been something else. Like, Randy, who is extremely out of place at the country club. I mean, he's popped up once or twice with Doug, but yeah, to see him, around all these people. And yeah, they knew Doug for his respectable career as a surgeon, but he knew Doug back when they were on the other side of the track, so to speak, and if he gave a eulogy, it would be a bit more rough around the edges, so to speak. And everybody would kind of be looking at him crazy like, wait, what? Doug Doug was like that. But I think it would have added an extra layer to the character in terms of, I know this is a kind of a derogatory term, but he essentially pulled himself up by his bootstraps. He didn't allow the circumstances of his upbringing and environment, dictate his future, as opposed to becoming a stereotype. He became a diamond in the rough and used his smarts to get out of the hood, as opposed to, getting drawn into it. But unfortunately, we know he got sucked back in by his inner demons, and well, that's what ended him. Man, I hate to just go on and on. No, you know what? No, I don't hate to go on about it. It's just that I am disappointed because this memorial could have just done so much good for the show, in my opinion. So we go over to Uptown, and isn't this like the first time Andre and Hayley have interacted? So it looks like Danny received a text from Andre, and Andre has been, thinking about the offer Danny gave as his way out. So he's up there drinking, and Danny's like, yeah, I got your message. I got one errand to run. Then I'm coming to Uptown so we can talk. That's when Hayley rolls up on him and congratulates him on his marriage and hopes no one pulled a gun on him at his wedding like Danny did at her wedding to Bill. And she hopes that this means that, they'll be keeping their paws off other people. So Hayley just has no self-awareness. And Hayley says, the way your wife is constantly going after my husband, you must not be doing a good job keeping her satisfied. And so look, let's just cut to the cream cheese. We both at this point share daughters. And yeah, and they're adults. And that's when he admits that, okay, so Danny and Bill do spend too much time together, but I can't believe she's trying to steal Bill back from you. And that's when Hayley can't believe an international player is so gullible. Which is funny how you call Andre gullible, yet you're completely... You just have a massive lack of self-awareness in terms of how can Bill do anything with Danny that's wrong when you're the one who initiated this by sleeping with him when he was still married. So even though you most likely know all about Danny's taste in the bedroom, but you're somehow clueless about how she operates and manipulates people, which, to be honest, I said that in a video about the open marriage thing. Danny is manipulating Andre, whether or not she will admit to it. And it's crazy how she calls Andre gullible to Danny's tactics, yet somehow she's confident that Bill is invulnerable to Danny, but he thinks Bill is incapable of not cheating. And he says that you're the one being naive. And I'm like, yeah, that is completely accurate. And she refused to believe that Bill is jealous. But then again, wasn't he the one that stepped to Andre at the diner recently? So Andre is sure Bill wants him out of the picture, and the Duprees seem to want it too. And then that's when Danny asked him what he wanted because she gave me a way out, and he's seriously thinking about it. So Hayley is sure he and Danny could make each other happy, which of course we know is just her way of trying to ease the tension and be like, hey, just you can make it work. That way Danny stays away from my man. And speaking of which, Danny is doing the exact opposite of what Hayley hopes to. Danny stops by Bill's office and they chat about the case against Leslie's construction. And to his surprise, she hands over a birthday present, which is interesting because tomorrow is his birthday. And she's like, yeah, I'm sure Hayley has big plans for you unless, she's upset about something. And Bill hates how well she can read him. You were together for over, 30 years? It makes sense. So they chat about how, she kept their kiss from her new husband, which I think is just... So that makes Bill wonder if Andre's keeping secrets from her too. So they have some more bickering as classic Bill and Danny do. And he opens the gift. And it turns out to be a replica of the key to the building. That is gold plated and turned into a necklace. And she actually made it last year, but their marriage blew up before she could give it to him. So that's when he's like, I love it. So they hug and kiss. And Hayley sees him through the window. I'm surprised she didn't bust in there. But no, she just runs away. So after they break apart, they mention that it was a mistake and she leaves. So it turns out this key has much more significance than one would imagine. Secondly, it has been quite a while, but I love these flashbacks. I've always loved the flashbacks to quote unquote younger Danny and Bill. And I believe Danny was the one that got him his office space to begin with, which is amazing. So, man, I just love these moments. It really is. It's wholesome. It just reminds you, like, bro, Bill, where did it go wrong? So Danny pops up at Uptown and asks Andre what he's decided. And this moron says, I want to stay married. I'm sorry. This is stupid. I hate it because we know that Danny is playing this man. So finally, we get to the massive revelation of the episode, and that's Hayley popping up at Randy's or at the casino to talk to Randy. She's in her feelings about Bill stepping out on her. And Randy is 10 toes down to support his cousin because she's like, nah, Bill ain't going to play me. It's time to kick his legs out from under him. So they're going to conspire to take Bill Hamilton down. Hey, this is what he gets. Sorry. You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. This is essentially Shannon Sharp at this point. You got a reputable man with a big business, deep pockets, yet he hooks up with some PYT and he's about to get screwed over. Man. This was wild. So yeah, I enjoyed the episode. I know this review is kind of short, but either way, this was a great episode. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next one.